Hey, it's Brandi Kruse. You're watching a clip from our show Sundays with Subscribers. For more exclusive content and in-depth interviews, become a subscriber by signing up at unDividedpod.com. SarahAnn is a survivor of trafficking, and she now works for an organization that seeks to help other women escape that life. There's a lot of headlines right now around Epstein and his client list and his island. As you, as a survivor, as you watch those news stories and consume the coverage of that issue, how does it strike you?
I think it strikes me as like, why aren't we talking about what's right in front of us? Like, you can go to Aurora on any given day and see lots of girls. So it's right in front of us on a daily basis. So I wish that we would deal with what is right in front of us all the time. A lot of survivors end up being forgotten, and they fall through the cracks because we aren't really looking at the real issues.
Well, and it feels like even in the Epstein case, the survivors have been forgotten, that it's become less about the young women and boys who went through that and more about Epstein and what powerful person might be on his list.
Yeah, because it ends up being more about the buyer than it ends up being about the women that are, or the people that are being trafficked or falling victim of what's going on. And I think the more that we steer away from that and start forgetting about the buyer and start thinking about who the real victim is in the situation, then that's when we will start real change.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit about your personal story.
I started in the life when I was about 12. I left home due to like physical abuse, sexual abuse. My mom had a hard time believing it, understanding it. And so I ended up leaving home. I always say that like relationships got me in the game and relationships will end up getting me out. I think when you're young like that, you just want to belong somewhere. And if that means you have to do some things that aren't really that great, then that's just what you have to do. Like everything becomes transactional. And you start to have this concept that it takes, in order for me to be happy, I have to please somebody else. And just that little bit of happiness is worth that whole bunch of trauma. I was in the game most of my life and never really thought I would get out. Ended up having children, and was still in the life. I am a grateful recovering addict. That happened. But it wasn't until I found a community at where I work now, which is called OPS, which stands for Organization for Prostitution Survivors, that I was able to spark real change. And so I started coming to the art group that they had and became an artist and got into that and just started being around people that understood me, that didn't judge me, that didn't shame me. And now it's came full circle. Now I'm the program coordinator at OPS. I do all of our outreach stuff. I have a empowerment program, economic empowerment program for the women. So that's kind of where it all began for me. And I have a very strong passion for this. Sex trafficking can look anything from walking the blade on Aurora to working at a bikini burska, to survival sex, to I do a lot of outreach in the encampments. Girls are being trafficked out of the encampments. It's so many levels to it. And everybody's story might be different, but the trauma is still the same. So whether you are in a fancy Hilton, having an escort date, or whether you're in an encampment and you are being coerced with drugs, the trauma is still exactly the same. The chances of being hurt or killed are exactly the same. There's no difference in that. And I think that's what people really need to understand, that there's levels to this.
Hey, it's Brandi Kruse. You're watching a clip from our show Sundays with Subscribers. For more exclusive content and in-depth interviews, become a subscriber by signing up at unDividedpod.com.